Hello children, I'm so glad you could join us again today for another Bible story. Do you remember last week we left Blackie and Patch happily munching away at the bones that Rupert had given them? They were such good friends. Well, that was on that day. The following day things were a bit different, and I'm going to explain to you what happened. You see, Blackie woke up early and he discovered this ball under a tree. And so Blackie was having a lot of fun kicking this ball around and having a great time. A little bit later in the morning, who should get up and come across but Patch? And Patch said, "Hey, what are you doing? That's my ball. I want to play too." And Blackie said, it's my ball. I found it under that tree over there." "That's not fair," said Patch. "That's my ball. I just forgot to take it back to the kennel last night." "Well, that just shows that you don't care about your ball. I found it and it's mine. And you're not playing," said Blackie. "Oh, that is my ball and you should give it back to me," says Patch. Oh dear, Patch and Blackie, who were such good friends yesterday, are having a little fight today. Boys and girls, I'm going to let you have a little think about what do you think Blackie should do and what do you think Patch should do so they can become friends again. And you can tell your mum and dad what you think, and if your mum and dad have time, they could send me an email with your suggestions. How about that? Well, today we're going to hear a story about a man called Issac. And Issac was a man who knew that fighting didn't work. Fighting didn't fix a problem. Now, last week we learned about Abraham, and Abraham was a man who trusted God to take him to a new land that he was going to give him. In time, Abraham had a son called Issac, the man we're going to hear about today. And Issac, when he grew up, became a man and he got married to a beautiful lady called Rebecca. And just like Abraham, Issac and Rebecca lived in tents and they lived in the land that God had given Abraham. And just like Abraham, God had promised Issac that he would be with him, that he would look after him, that he would bless him, and that he would become a great nation and that other people would be blessed as well because of Issac. Well, Issac grew up learning how to trust the one true God who was good and kind. And I'm going to tell you now how Issac showed that he really did trust God. And to help me tell the story, I'm going to ask you to help me tell the story. Sometimes in the story I'm going to go clippity-clop, clippity-clop, and I'd like you to go clippity-clop, clippity-clop. And sometimes I'm going to go diggity-dig, diggity-dig, and I'd like you to go diggity-dig, diggity-dig as well. You all ready? Good. Well, as I said, God helped Issac to become a very rich man. He was really blessed. He was a farmer and he grew lots of plants. And he also had lots and lots of animals. He had lots of sheep and cows and goats and camels and donkeys, I suppose. And he was very rich. And all the other people around Issac started to not like their situation at all. They were jealous. Issac had more animals than they did. And they also knew something that Issac knew, and that's this. Isaac's animals and Isaac's crops needed water. And where they lived was a fairly dry area. And so they had to use wells to get the water. And at the bottom of a well is some source of water. Maybe it's a spring. And so people used to build bricks, holes around the well, the water. And then they would be able to put down a bucket down in the well to get the water. And that's what Issac did to give water to his animals and to his plants. Well, the people around Isaac who were jealous, they thought of something really mean to do, something that was a wrong thing to do. You see, these wells belonged to Isaac. They'd actually belonged to Abraham, Isaac's father. And these people who were jealous of Isaac came and put a whole lot of dirt and rocks and other things into these wells. So that now the water was really, really dirty, and now Isaac couldn't use this water to give to his animals. The wells were ruined. Now, Isaac could have fought them, but he knew that fighting doesn't fix problems. And when the king of the area came and said, Isaac, I want you to leave this area. You are too rich and too strong for us. Isaac didn't fight. He knew that fighting doesn't fix problems. And so Isaac packed up his bags, his helpers did too, and then clippity-clop, Isaac and all his helpers and animals moved from this area, and they moved to another area that wasn't that far away. And when they got to that area, there was a lot of wells there that had belonged to Abraham, and so now they belonged to Isaac. And these wells had also been filled up with dirt and stuff as well. So Isaac's helpers got to work, and they took off all the dirt and rubbish that was inside those wells, so that those wells now had lovely fresh water. Isaac's animals could now use the water that was in these wells that actually belonged to him. And then one of Isaac's helpers was looking around in the valley where they were, and he discovered some fresh water. And they then built a completely new well. This well was definitely Isaac's. This was the first well in our story that they built. Well, Isaac's helpers came and brought his animals to the well, and they gave them lots of water. But some of the people nearby were really angry. They decided, no, that's our water. And they started to bring their animals too. And soon Isaac's helpers and these other people were having a fight. But Isaac knew that fighting doesn't help problems. It doesn't fix problems. So Isaac decided to trust God in this situation. It was completely unfair. But Isaac packed up, and his helpers packed up, and he and the animals went clippity-clop to another area that wasn't that far away as well. And this time, they found another source of water, and they built another well. This was well number 2. And Isaac thought, great, now I've got water for my animals. But some of the other people who were nearby thought, no way. This water's our water. Go away, Isaac. We don't want you here. Isaac trusted God. He knew that fighting doesn't fix problems. So he packed up, his helpers packed up, and he and the animals went clippity-clop, clippity-clop to an area a fair bit further away. And this time they found, again, another bit of fresh water, and they built another well this time. And this is the third well that they built in a fairly short time. And Isaac thought, at last I've got a well with some nice fresh water to give my animals. And this time no one came to say, go away, Isaac, this water is ours. So Isaac and his helpers stayed here, and they were able to use this water to water their animals and to start growing crops again. And that night, God said to Isaac, Isaac, I am with you. Don't be afraid. This land that you're in, I'm going to give to you. You are going to have a big family, become a nation, and be a blessing to lots and lots of people. And I think God was really pleased that Isaac knew that fighting didn't fix problems. I think God was really pleased that Isaac could trust God even when things weren't fair. And I think that's something we can all learn, boys and girls. Sometimes things aren't fair, but we need to trust God to help us get through those situations. And we need to also know that fighting doesn't fix problems. Until next time, girls and boys, I'll say goodbye. Goodbye.